Wonderful. I'm seeing all the buzz in the chat box. Loving to see all the spectrum of people and organizations. We're so happy to have you all here in this room and space with us. This session will be recorded and posted on our website along with the slides. So if you're not speaking, please go ahead and mute your microphone. Juanita will also keep an eye and might mute you if you're getting a lot of ambient noise. Juanita will also be keeping an eye on the chat for questions. We will have space for some discussion near the end of the session where you can come off mute and share with the group as a whole. I wanted to give a brief agenda for what to expect on this webinar this morning. We will do a brief welcome and introductions to introduce you to all of our speakers and our roles, an overview of Quad Cities Community Foundation and introduction to our mission and initiatives here, an overview of Center for Nonprofit Excellence and explanation of our purpose and offerings, a program series overview outlining the program series, including key topics and objectives. And also we will include registration process to have detailed information on registration steps, deadlines, and requirements. And then lastly, we will have a Q&A session with staff and consultants, an open floor for questions, feedback, and clarification from staff and consultants. My name is Daisy Moran. My pronouns are she, her, aya. I am the director for Center for Nonprofit Excellence. I reside in the Quad Cities, born and raised in Moline, Illinois. I love doing this work because I love connecting with nonprofits, building capacity, and being a champion for our nonprofit and philanthropy sector. In my free time, I love enjoying the outdoors with my three dogs, being Bowen, Miley, and Lou. And I will pass it on to Kelly.
Thanks, Daisy. I'm Kelly Thompson, she, her. I'm the Vice President of Grant Making Community Initiatives here at the Community Foundation. Been here a little over 12 years. I came to the Quad Cities by way of being born in Michigan, growing up in the Chicago suburbs and coming here for college, and I stuck around. My job is really connecting for community opportunities. I love to see the different connections that we can make, whether through funding, whether through resources, or just people who care about similar things. In my free time, I do a lot of exploring the world with my toddler. It's awesome to see the world through his eyes, and sharing with him and my husband time in the outdoors, music, reading, and our local theater scene. Let's pass it on.
Hello, everyone. My name is Juanita Pasno. My pronouns are she, her, aya. I am the administrative assistant for the Center for Nonprofit Excellence here at the Quad City Community Foundation. I love spending time with my family and friends, and we like to travel and try new things. I also love the connections and the networking and being a part of making an impact for our community. We can pass it.
I think your mic isn't working. Maybe we'll go to Ladrina and then come back to you. Do you want to switch your inputs?
All right, my name is Ladrina Wilson. I am proudly born and raised in the Quad Cities. I intentionally do not put what town because we are all Quad citizens. I love to connect and build with people. So this work is a great opportunity to be able to take some of the various experiences that we've had here in the community, also in our consulting work, and blend it all together to build something to make the community better. So I'm really excited about this adventure that you're going to go on with us. Something you might not know about me is that twins run in my family due to a medical condition. I know I always put the medical condition because everybody says twins run in their family. But my grandmother had two sets of twins back to back. The twins had twins, the twins had twins, so on and so forth. And I am one of the few female cousins who did not have twins.
That better? Can you hear me? Thank you. I am Linda Waston. I am president and founder of Waston and Associates. We've been in business here in the Quad Cities for almost 14 years now. You see, I took a very circuitous route to get here, born in Cleveland, Ohio, spent most of my upbringing in Northern Illinois and Rockford, went out east for a while, and have been here in the Quad Cities for about 27 years. At Waston and Associates, we help nonprofits make their ideas happen. So if there's something that is preventing those ideas, whether it's needing a strategic plan, needing a stronger board, oftentimes it's needing money, we help them make that happen. And my husband and I love going to the beach, and we like going to musical theater and other kinds of musical events.
Thank you so much, Kelly, Juanita, Linda, and Ladrina, for sharing your intros and fun facts. We do want to set some group agreements. So since we are all coming to this space with different skills, experience, and levels of comfort with both nonprofit leadership and the Community Foundation, we wanted to set up the expectations for how we will engage with one another today. So our first group agreement is freedom to speak in first draft, aka your question doesn't have to be perfectly worded. Please use the chat or use the Q&A section to let us know what's on your mind and how we can provide more clarity. Feedback is always welcome. So if you see any areas of opportunity or improvement, we would love to hear that feedback. Also, clear is kind. We will try our best to be as transparent as possible, but if something is still not as clear as you would like it to be, please let us know and we will try to rephrase it or make sure that you are understanding of what we are trying to present today. The goal of our time together today is to introduce you to who we are and what we do, reinforce what you already know about the Community Foundation and the Center for Nonprofit Excellence, and share new information with you about this new exciting offering, Strong Board Governance Series. Juanita is going to launch a poll in just a few seconds to get a feel for how everyone is arriving to our meeting today. Thank you so much, Juanita. So please select the option that resonates with you on how did you hear about our Strong Board Governance Series? Was it through a staff member of the foundation? Did you see a post on LinkedIn or Facebook? Did you get an email forwarded to you? Or was it another way that you heard about this exciting offering? All right. So as you can see in the results, we have a good mix of people that heard from one of our staff members at the foundation, or they saw it on LinkedIn or forwarded email, and potentially another way of seeing this offering. So thank you so much for participating in this first poll function. Now we would like to ask you, we recognize that you may have multiple roles when entering the space, but please select one that's most relevant to the reason for you being here today. Are you an aspiring board member? Are you an emerging board member that just recently joined a board or maybe joined a different board with a new group of people? Are you a current board member? Are you a corporate philanthropy partner looking to serve on a board or currently serving on a board? Are you a nonprofit development officer, or are you a nonprofit CEO and executive director? So we'll leave a few seconds for you to choose the option that resonates with you today. All right, we'll go ahead and show the results. So we are seeing that we have a good mix of aspiring board members, current board members, nonprofit leaders, whether they're development officer, CEO, or executive director. We're so happy to have all of you here today and to learn more about this exciting offering and how it fits with your current needs. All right, now Kelly will provide an overview of the Quad Cities Community Foundation.
Yeah, well, just as you come to us with many different roles, people come to us with many different relationships with the Quad Cities Community Foundation. Many of those folks connected with the nonprofit sector come to us through our role as grant maker. You may have applied for funding through our competitive grant programs. You may have received funding from an endowment that a donor has set up or that you yourself as an organization have created to build endowment for the future of your mission. We also provide scholarships. We are looking forward to providing over $600,000 in scholarships to students for their post-high school education here in about a month. We help donors to create those endowments and to connect with causes that they care about. And as you have gotten to know a lot in the last year and a half, we provide educational programming and resources through the Center for Nonprofit Excellence. Those include CEO Link and Development Link, some longstanding nonprofit peer networking groups that predate even having the CNE as their umbrella, as well as Resource Link on our website, which contains a lot of different links to consultants, to educational resources outside of those that we provide, and other kind of thought leadership documents for people working in all different ways to advance the benefit of the Quad Cities and beyond. So those are all available to community members and nonprofit leaders. Many of them are free. Some of them are, we try to make sure that the rest of them are low cost, affordable, accessible. We're grateful for the generosity of donors that have helped us to do this and that continue to help us to do this. It's exciting now to hone in on the Center for Nonprofit Excellence. So I'll hand it back to Daisy.
Thank you so much, Kelly, for providing that overview. We will now like to provide you with an overview of Center for Nonprofit Excellence. We provide monthly peer network groups, organizational training opportunities, and resources through the Center for Nonprofit Excellence to help strengthen the nonprofit sector as a connector, capacity builder, and champion for our region. The center and its values were shaped by input from the nonprofit sector and our community through input sessions and strategic planning in 2023, which gathered discussions with over 200 community members. One of our values is by nonprofits for nonprofits. The Community Foundation has designed the center to be led by nonprofits, meaning that from the very beginning, the people and organizations will not only be served, but also actively participate in leading the effort. The Center for Nonprofit Excellence is guided by the stated and evaluated needs and preferences of the nonprofit sector and by an advisory committee representing diverse aspects of our sector and our community. Our second value is equity at the center. Programs and services are developed and conducted with an equity lens to work against the existing racial and other disparities present in our sector, and to engage and strength of all the benefit of our community. You can view our commitment, our Community Foundation's commitment to equity on our website. And our third value is a contextual, continuous, and collective approach. Programs and services offer different entry points for the greatest impact and meaningful choice by different organizations. Programs are designed to be ongoing because meaningful change takes time and doesn't happen after one learning experience. Participants gain valuable insights through shared learning, which benefits not only themselves and their organizations, but also strengthens the nonprofit and philanthropic center in the Quad Cities. We did want to provide you a visual of our advisory committee. They are comprised of 15 local nonprofit leaders representing diverse organizations in terms of size, type, individual, organizational, and demographics and professions. They provide guidance on the center's programming based on assessments, evaluations, and their valuable experience and expertise. Now I will hold space for any questions over the overview of the Center for Nonprofit Excellence or the overview of the Community Foundation. You may use the chat to have any questions. All right. I see no questions in the chat, but please feel free to use that function as we go on with our webinar presentation. Now we will provide an overview of our Strong Board Governance series. The Strong Board Governance mini course series will be delivered in partnership with Waston and Associates and Iman Consulting. Participants may register for one, some, or all of the mini courses. Over 6 months, participants will gain an interactive sessions that cover the key factors of successful board leadership. Registration includes 1-year access to a digital library featuring 12 concise 15-minute learning modules, along with sample documents and discussion guides to enhance your board meetings. Expert consultants will offer drop-in virtual office hours each month, And as an added bonus, participants will be eligible for continuing education units and certified fundraising executive credits as well. The mini course series is designed for aspiring, emerging, and current board members, corporate philanthropy partners, and nonprofit leaders who want to learn proven strategies for building and strengthening effective boards. The in-person sessions provide an opportunity to apply the theoretical concepts from the digital library learning modules and the supplementary materials to real-world board situations to facilitate a discussion. Each session will include a pre-work component. Completing this essential pre-work will equip you to fully engage in the in-person mini course and empower you to implement advanced board governance practices effectively within your organization. Participants will earn a certificate after attending each mini course. Participants will access the digital library through our online learning platform called ProPros. After completing all 12 learning modules in the digital library, you will receive a separate certificate of completion for completing those 12 videos. During each mini course, consultants will guide small group discussions centered around predetermined and attendee-generated questions and prompts with two main goals. One, to help participants reflect on and explore how to implement enhanced board governance practices within their own organizations, and two, to foster peer learning in which participants share insights, strategies, and have worked well for their nonprofits and board members. Linda, what should people expect when they attend one or more of these in-person sessions?
This in-person sessions are going to really take the theory that was outlined in the videos and that's in the supplemental material and help you to apply that to your own organization. So we're going to do that through a series of kind of feedback on what happened in the videos, what did you learn, what questions do you have, and kind of the flipped classroom model. And then a couple guided discussions where we will ask the participants how they could benefit from or how we can help them to input this into their organization. And we may have some suggestions too, based upon our experiences.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that additional insight, Linda. Participants who register for any mini course session will receive one-year access to our digital library and the materials. Below is a list of the video modules. Linda, what do you intend for people to walk away with after they complete their pre-work and attend in the in-person session?
Really, what we're hoping to do is to help strengthen the boards in our nonprofit sector and strengthen how nonprofit boards work with executive directors and staff. The board should be a partner with staff. Too often I see where they're an impediment, and some of that is boards don't know what they should do, how they should act. Directors don't always know how to use their boards most effectively. So we've started with those areas that we most often saw as challenges for boards, either boards we've been on, boards we've worked with, or, boards that conversations we've had with nonprofits in the community. And so when you complete a module, we hope that you will take away some theoretical and, more importantly, some practical ways that you can begin to implement some changes in your board the next day.
Thank you so much, Linda. As you can see, here are the additional other 6 videos in that learning module. Ladrina and Linda, you both have served and worked with boards. How can you see participants using this digital material with their boards?
Yeah, I would first say that the videos are what I like to refer to as kind of almost like vignettes. They're anywhere from 8 to 15, maybe 18 minutes. And there's valuable content in each one of them. I could see them being played at a board meeting. if necessary, if there are improvements that people need to make. I could see them being played at least at minimum as a conversation starter, maybe even with executive committee or a governance committee, depending on where you want to make some refinements. So I think that's one way that I could see the modules potentially being used. I also think that you'll find not only with the modules, but with we're referring to them as supplemental materials, but oftentimes there's really good questions that were probing questions that you can get from those supplemental materials that you could pose at the board meeting. And based on what their responses are, it will let you know whether or not you need to dig into one of these modules. So you could use the materials either way and add value. And because boards are so pressed for time, they're short, they're sweet, they're to the point, and I think that you'll find them very impactful.
Thank you, Ladrina. The next slide, we will pause for questions on the overview of the Strong Board Governance series, and then we will dive into what to expect for registration and requirements. But we did want to provide you a timeline of when these mini course series will be conducted, and they will be in person at the Quad Cities Community Foundation. All right, so now we will pause for any questions regarding the format of Strong Board Governance and the mini courses and/or the digital library. You may use the chat box and/or come off mute if you would like to pose any question. Okay, Courtney, thank you for the question. Are you able to Zoom into the meetings if you do not live in the Quad Cities? This is a great question, Courtney, and it's definitely something that we are looking into of how to accommodate for our participants that may be residing outside of the Quad Cities. So we will have more information on virtual access to the content. If any other questions arise on the content or the format of the mini course series and/or digital library, feel free to use the chat. We will now move on to registration overview of the series. Registration opened on Monday, April 7th. Participants can choose mini courses and times that fit best with their schedules and needs. Registration will be on a rolling monthly basis. The deadline to register for each session is 1.5 weeks prior to the session. This ensures that registrants have at least 1 week access to the digital library and are able to complete the required pre-work component. As a reminder, the pre-work is a key component of the value you get from the mini courses and enables you on how to apply these concepts in the real-world scenarios and to your work. Register, visit the landing page on our website for registration links. I will now share my screen to kind of walk through of how you can find these registration links on our website. So one moment, please. All right, thank you for your grace in waiting. If you first log into our Quad Cities Community Foundation website, you can click on this banner that says Strong Board Governance Series, or you can go to our tab for nonprofits, find Center for Nonprofit Excellence, click on the title, scroll down under programs, you will find Strong Board Governance, and that will take you to our landing page. As you can see, you will find more detailed information on the program registration, recommendations on the primary audience. And then down below, you will see the full schedule of our mini courses. And when you click registration opens on April 7th, it will take you to our events page tickets. Here you will find not only our board governance series, but also our monthly workshop offerings. And you can select the mini course that you are interested in attending. And it will take you to our registration page, as you can see below. Now I will share my screen so we can walk through the actual registration process of when you would like to select a mini course. So one moment, please. Once you select the mini course of your choice, you will see detailed information in the description, and up on the right-hand corner, you will see mini course registration. Please click this hyperlink, and it will take you to where you can select how many tickets you would like to select. If you are an individual attending by yourself, you would put 1 and add to cart. Down below, you will enter your information or the attendee that is planning on participating. And then you will want to make sure that your contact information is correct. If it is, you will hit continue. And then this is the part where you will enter your card information. For demo, we will just enter our demo card. This is not a real card. Forgot to add the address. Very key component. And then you will click pay for processing. And then here is where you will add your guest information. So you think you are done with registration, but it's very important that you input your guest information, especially if you are registering someone else in your organization. So if this is different from the contact information, or if it's the same, you are required to enter that information. And then here you will see what you have registered, and you will click done. If you are interested in signing up for more than one mini course, you can click your tickets, and then you can add another mini course as well. All right, so that was a walkthrough of our mini course registration. Are there any questions regarding the registration process or any questions regarding the overall format of the series? And or if you have any questions directly for our consultants, Linda and Ladrina, this would be the time to ask those questions as well.
While we're waiting on those questions to come in, if it's okay, Daisy, if I can just add a comment. The beautiful thing about this program is that it gives you ultimate flexibility. If you know that there's a specific topic that you need to address within your organization, you have access to that and a plethora of other content that may be situationally needed over the course of the year. If you know you need a deeper dive and you want that in-person experience, you're also having access to that through this program. So the nice thing is it is somewhat a la carte, but also you have access to much more than what you may need in this moment over the course of the year. I'm really excited to see what happens when we have that interactive component in the classroom. And I really love that the Community Foundation has advocated for, and the Center for Nonprofit Excellence has advocated for those individual coaching sessions that you'll be able to sign up for too. So maybe there's content that you need a more one-on-one situational type of questions. We will have office hours each month as part of this experience that you can pull in Linda's expertise, my expertise to be able to glean from and use in your organization. So it really is a three-pronged approach to allowing you to have access to information and knowledge.
Thank you, Ladrina, for that digital insight.
I want to also add, just make sure everybody's clear when you're talking about what a mini course is. Each mini course has assigned to it, when Daisy talks about the required pre-work before the in-person session, there is anywhere from 2 to 4 videos that we have assigned under each topic. As Ladrina said earlier, they're average about 15 minutes each. There's a couple that are 18. I think there's 1 or 2 that are 8. And the expectation is that you will come to that in-person session having watched the videos and brought your questions so that we can spend the time at the in-person session, not rehashing what we've already said in the videos, but rather answering your questions, taking the content that was in the videos one step further if you're interested in the theory, but it's also applying the theory to a real world situation. So you get the best of both. It's not just us telling you you should do X, Y, Z, but it's us giving you the underlying rationale so you can figure out what's best for you. And then, as Ladrina said, after the in-person session, we'll have the office hours. So if you need more guidance, you have more specific questions specific to your situation, because we recognize every nonprofit is different, that will allow you to take it one step further as well.
Linda, that's such a good point. It's really worth reiterating in terms of the registration process, because you'll notice when you go on the website, each registration deadline is about a week and a half before the session. And that is so that we can make sure you have access to all those materials for at least a week, longer if you register earlier, but for at least a week, so that you have time to engage with that material before you show up and engage with the real world application of it with your consultants and your peers. While others think of whether they have questions, I have a question for Linda and for Ladrina, and that is, and this might be a hard question, what of all of the topics and sessions are you most excited to talk with people about?
I think I have two answers, and one probably won't surprise anybody. Getting your board involved in development work. That's one of those things I hear a lot. I think there's a lot of myths around what role the board should play in development, both from the nonprofit leadership side and from the board member side. I think there's a disconnect there as well. So I think that's one I'm really excited about. The other one is the one on leading through change, because over the last couple of months, things have been coming at nonprofits rapid fire. And what I see and what I saw during the pandemic was those organizations that understood how to manage that change are the ones who thrived and even survived. And so change isn't going away. So how can you, as a nonprofit executive, prepare your board to have the kinds of very strategic conversations that need to be occurring right now? And how do you have perhaps difficult conversations in a very productive way? And as board member, as board chair, how do you support your executive, and how do you also prepare them to have those conversations? So I think those are two that I'm really excited about, but even as I'm answering, all the other ones are popping in my head too. So there's not a loser among them.
No, well, and it's so true that this is such a demanding time for us in the nonprofit sector in terms of change and lack of predictability. You know, and I think you see our attempt to address that even in the design of this program, right? Because we know people may not have time to do all six. But if they can take advantage of one or two that are most salient for them, we hope that will help them make a difference. Or allow, one board member to sign up and then share the videos with their team later. So we hope that you'll be able to use that flexibly in this really demanding time. Ladrina, same question. What are you excited to talk about with folks?
Yeah, I'm not going to pick just one either. I would say, I'll be brief though. The peer-to-peer relationships is one that really is intriguing to me. It's a short one, but it's really important because when you see your board members begin to coalesce, even outside of the meeting space, it gives them a deeper sense of purpose and commitment to the organization that has a legacy that will carry on longer than any staff member probably. Like once you get your board interacting with each other, developing interpersonal relationships toward a shared mission, that's almost magical as far as I'm concerned. And so that one gives me a lot of excitement, and it gives people a sense of purpose and connection to something larger than them. So that's one. And then the working versus governing board, I think a lot of people think they know exactly what they are. But for those transitional organizations, or maybe those organizations that have experienced a changeover in their executive leadership, maybe they've had a CEO that has left and now you're having to dip your toe into the space of maybe being a working board when you've been a governing board. How do you balance that? When you transition in a new leader, or how do you balance that when your organization is growing from needing a working board toward needing a governing board? And there's a lot of nuggets and good information in there, as well as a quiz that kind of helps you identify like where are we at as an organization. So that's another one that I'm pretty excited about.
It's both. And then I'm going to send it back to Daisy, but I just want to kind of offer that even for those who are not on boards or maybe even not in executive leadership at their organization, many of us lead committees, right? We lead groups of people all the time. Daisy, as I send it back to you, I'll just invite you to note that you and I have watched these videos as a preview, and you've even implemented some of the things that you've learned in it just by watching the previews.
Yes, thank you so much, Linda, Ladrina, and Kelly. As Kelly has stated, we have previewed videos, and I have already implemented many of the components from the videos into my advisory committee meetings and agendas and so forth. So I can't speak enough of how high value the video and the content is, and not only, but ready to implement into your real world work that you're doing currently right now. So if you have any more questions on the digital library and or the mini courses, please do not hesitate to contact me directly at either our office phone number and or my email. Also, we welcome any direct communication with our consultants, Linda and Ladrina, as well. I know they are eager to answer any questions regarding this series as well. So I just want to thank everyone for joining us this morning. Thank you to Jerry, Kelly, Juanita, Linda, and Ladrina also for your input and expertise. If you also want to set up a virtual meeting, we can schedule a brief meeting with myself so we can walk more into how can this apply to your organization or to you as an individual and the goals that you have with board governance. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us this morning. All right. Have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Everyone, thank you.
Okay. It looks.
I think we can stop the recording.
Yes.
All right.